My name is Ella. I am 21 and I'm from Garner, North Carolina. So I was diagnosed at birth with two main conditions. One is Spina Bifida and the other is hydrocephalus. Spina Bifida essentially means that my spine didn't form the way that it should have. So there's three main types of Spina Bifida: occulta, meningocele, and myelomeningocele. So occulta is the rarest and also least severe form of Spina Bifida. Oftentimes, people with Spina Bifida occulta don't actually know that they have it. Meningocele is kind of in the middle of the three. Myelomeningocele, which is the form that I have, is the most severe and the most common form of Spina Bifida. Those are the patients that typically have a lot of limitations, a lot of complications due to the nerves in the spinal cord being sort of damaged and not fully formed like they should be. A lot of times, patients with myelomeningocele, the damage to the spinal cord is so severe that they're actually paralyzed. In my case, I have partial paralysis, but not total paralysis. As far as specifically talking about issues that have come up with the school system, I think sixth grade is where most of that hit. And granted, it was a fairly new school, but it was still kind of a surprise to my parents and I when the administration told us that I was the first disabled kid that had gone to that school. And so there were a lot of challenges that my parents and I had to kind of work through with the administration. One being that for some reason, the administration and the custodial staff felt the need that the floors in the school had to be waxed and mopped. And at that time, I did not actually have a wheelchair. I was solely using my arm crutches that I have. There's basically no way to get good friction on the floor, and so if I start to slip, there's really no stopping it, unfortunately. So they were trying to take this up with the administration, and the administration was not really helpful with that because they apparently just did not know how to deal with the challenges that come from having a disabled student in the school. So kind of on and off between 7th grade all the way up to graduating high school, I had had several different home health care nurses that had come to help out with my medical routines just while I was at home and everything. And then when I graduated high school and moved to college, my home health care nurses that I had had with me couldn't follow me there. And so my plan had been to try to seek try to find another nurse to basically cover for me like they had. But I've been having a lot of trouble up until this year. I'd been having a lot of trouble working with the home health care system to try to find a nurse that was available. Partially because there's currently a home health care nursing shortage at the moment. There's been a home health care nursing shortage for the last couple of years. But then I actually just found out earlier this year when I turned 21 that because I am now fully a legal adult, my insurance plan will not cover home health care nursing. They basically won't allow me to receive home health care nursing services anymore. But I still need it, even though they have determined that because of my age and because of the fact that I am somewhat independent, they've just decided that I don't need home health care nursing, but I do actually need it. Yeah, so one thing a lot of people don't know about just the general accessibility of buildings and all is that um, when fire alarms go off, the elevators shut down in buildings. And that is, for safety reasons, because especially if it's an electrical fire, you don't want to get in an elevator. But that makes it very difficult for those of us who have mobility limitations. If we're in a building, on a floor other than the ground floor, that makes it very difficult for us to actually evacuate. Kind of where I grew up about 30 minutes away from Raleigh, and downtown Raleigh, which I'm pretty familiar with that area because I went there a lot to visit my grandparents, but normally, most of the time when I'm in downtown Raleigh, I'm just traveling through in a car, but the one time I did actually try to do that with my wheelchair, I discovered just how uneven and inaccessible the sidewalks are in downtown Raleigh. I had a really difficult time trying to navigate the streets, whether it was uneven pavement or really steep slopes. Sometimes when you approach a crosswalk, it can have a little bit of a dip down into it, and so that can sometimes be hard for a wheelchair to get through. Because when I'm on campus, I use the wheelchair as my main mode of transportation because it's exhausting having to walk everywhere if I were just on my crutches. The wheelchair saves a little bit of that energy for me, and my freshman year, I had gotten this little motor device that attaches to the back of my wheelchair that basically just gives me a little bit of assistance so that I'm not having to do as much of the work pushing the chair as you would normally. However, right before Christmas this past year, the motor unfortunately broke, and so I have not been able to use it for the last 2 or 3 months or so. I'm starting to notice it's really taking a toll on my body physically, and my shoulders and my wrist, because I've spent so much time either pushing the chair or even when I'm on my crutches, a lot of my weight is on either my shoulders or my wrist, and so my wrist and my shoulders are much more prone to getting really strained and getting straining injuries. Last year, kind of more on the mental health side of it, I was diagnosed last year with 2 different anxiety disorders, 2 different mental health disorders, one of which was generalized anxiety disorder, which affects me more than the other. Because of that, there's a lot of times where I feel like it would be really helpful, really beneficial for me to, have somebody, pretty close by that I could easily get to at any time if my anxiety got really bad. Because depending on the day and what I'm going through, sometimes my anxiety attacks can get pretty intense. But unfortunately, because of my physical health conditions, it's better if I don't have a roommate in my room, because if I was in a double room with a roommate, that would obviously be less space for my wheelchair and less space to store my medical supplies, but also I wouldn't have the privacy that I need to be able to do my daily medical routine. I have a couple of different medical routines that I have to do on a daily basis. I did not realize how much support I really do need, and And when I have friends or, other people that are able to help give me that support, and, when I am on my own and I don't have my family, that makes me really happy when I'm able to still have that support, even though I don't have my family immediately there with me. But yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing that college and trying to live independently on my own has taught me, is that I didn't realize before now, since I was always with my parents up to now. I didn't realize how much I actually benefit from support from other people. And so even though I do try to navigate and live independently on my own as much as possible, when I do need the support and help from other people, I'm very grateful for when people can actually provide that.